Right now, as you listen to this, there are invisible forces destroying your potential. Not enemies, not circumstances, not bad luck. Habits. Silent, comfortable, deadly. They feel like safety, but they are sabotage. They feel like rest, but they are regression. They feel like protection, but they are poison. And here's what terrifies most people. You don't even know which ones you're carrying. This audiobook will expose them, every single one. We will drag them into the light, name them, shame them, and systematically destroy them before they finish destroying you. This is not motivation. This is warfare. Let's begin. Let me tell you something that will make you uncomfortable. Good. That's the point. Your comfort zone is killing you. Slowly, quietly, methodically. And the worst part is that you are thanking it while it does. You wake up every morning and you choose the familiar. You choose the safe. You choose the path that requires the least resistance, the least effort, the least fear. And you tell yourself that you're being smart. You tell yourself that you're being practical. You tell yourself that someday, when the conditions are right, you'll make your move. But someday never comes, does it? Because comfort is not your friend. Comfort is not protecting you. Comfort is a slow-acting poison that tastes like honey, and you've been drinking it for years. Here's what you need to understand about your brain. Your brain was not designed to make you successful. Your brain was not designed to make you happy. Your brain was designed for one purpose and one purpose only: survival. And survival means one thing to your ancient, primitive brain: avoid danger at all costs. But here's where it gets dangerous for you. Your brain cannot tell the difference between real danger and perceived danger. It cannot tell the difference between a hungry lion and a difficult conversation with your boss. It cannot tell the difference between a life-threatening situation and the fear of being judged by strangers on the internet. To your brain, discomfort equals danger, and danger must be avoided. So what does your brain do? It keeps you comfortable. It keeps you safe. It keeps you exactly where you are. And where you are is slowly dying. Comfort is not rest. Comfort is rust. Say that again in your mind. Let it sink in. Comfort is not rest. Comfort is rust. Every day you choose the easy path, you are rusting. Your skills are rusting. Your ambition is rusting. Your potential is rusting. And rust, once it sets in, is incredibly difficult to remove. Think about the last time you felt truly alive. The last time your heart was pounding with excitement, not fear. The last time you did something that scared you and came out the other side stronger. When was that? Last week? Last month? Last year? For most people, they cannot remember, because most people have been living in their comfort zones for so long that they've forgotten what growth feels like. They've forgotten what it means to be truly alive. Let me give you an example that might hit close to home. Think about the person who stays in the same job for 15 years. Not because they love it, not because it fulfills them, not because it's leading them somewhere great, but because it's stable, because it's predictable, because they know what to expect every single day. They tell themselves they're being responsible. They tell themselves they're being practical. They tell themselves that the steady paycheck is worth the slow death of their dreams. And then one day they wake up at 50 years old. The kids are grown, the house is paid off, and they look in the mirror and they don't recognize the person staring back at them. Because that person had dreams once. That person had ambitions once. That person believed they were destined for something more. But comfort killed all of that. Slowly, quietly, while they were busy being safe. This is the fate that awaits everyone who refuses to step outside their comfort zone. This is the destination at the end of the easy road. And you are on that road right now. Do you feel it? That slight discomfort in your chest as you listen to these words. That's your soul recognizing the truth. That's the part of you that knows you were meant for more, screaming to be heard. Listen to it, because that voice gets quieter every year you ignore it, until one day it goes silent forever. Here's the truth that successful people understand and average people refuse to accept. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. You cannot grow without discomfort. You cannot improve without discomfort. You cannot become the person you're capable of being without walking straight into the things that scare you. Every successful person you admire lives in a state of perpetual discomfort. Not because they're masochists, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that the moment you feel comfortable, you've stopped climbing. The moment you feel comfortable, you've stopped climbing. Read that again. Tattoo it on your brain. Comfort is not the destination. Comfort is the signal that you've stopped moving. And when you stop moving, you start dying. So what do you do with this information? You start today, right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now. I want you to identify one comfort that you've been clinging to. One safety blanket that feels good but is secretly strangling your potential. Maybe it's the job you hate but won't leave. Maybe it's the relationship that drains you but feels familiar. Maybe it's the city you've outgrown but are too scared to escape. Maybe it's the dream you've been protecting by never actually pursuing it. Whatever it is, I want you to name it. Say it out loud if you have to. Acknowledge its existence. Because you cannot kill what you cannot see. And this habit has been hiding in plain sight, pretending to be your friend while slowly burying you alive. The comfort zone is not a sanctuary. It's a cemetery for dreams. And the only way out is through. Step into the discomfort. Embrace the fear. Feel the resistance and move forward anyway. Because on the other side of that resistance is everything you've ever wanted. Everything you've ever dreamed of. The person you were always meant to become. But you'll never meet that person if you keep choosing comfort. Comfort is not rest. Comfort is rust. And it's time to stop rusting. Chapter 2. The Waiting Game. How long have you been waiting? Be honest with yourself right now. How many months? How many years? How many decades have you spent telling yourself that you will start when the time is right? When I have more money? When the kids are older? When work slows down? When I finish this course? When I lose the weight? When I feel more confident? When the economy improves? When I get that promotion? When I move to a new city? When I find the right partner? When? The perfect moment you are waiting for does not exist. It has never existed. It will never exist. And deep down, you already know this. The waiting game is not patience. It is not wisdom. It is not strategic thinking. It is fear wearing a mask. Ready is a lie. Start is the truth. Let me say that again because your brain is already trying to reject it. Ready is a lie. Start is the truth. You have convinced yourself that there is some magical future moment when all the conditions will align perfectly. When you will wake up feeling brave. When the path forward will be clear. When the risks will disappear. When success will be guaranteed. That moment is a fantasy. It is a bedtime story you tell yourself so you can sleep at night without feeling the weight of your unlived potential. And every day you wait for it is a day you lose forever. Think about the entrepreneur who spent 3 years preparing to launch their business. 3 years of research. 3 years of planning. 3 years of courses and books and masterminds. 3 years of getting ready. Meanwhile, someone with half their knowledge and half their preparation just started. They launched an ugly website. They made their first sale. They failed. They learned. They adjusted. They grew. By the time the perfect planner finally felt ready, their competitor had already built an empire. Not because they were smarter, not because they were more talented, but because they refused to play the waiting game. They understood something that most people never will. Action creates clarity. You think you need to figure everything out before you start. You think you need the complete roadmap before you take the first step. You think clarity comes before action. You have it backwards. Clarity comes to those who move, not those who wait. You will never think your way to success. You will never plan your way to confidence. You will never prepare your way to readiness. You become ready by starting before you are ready. You gain clarity by moving through confusion. You build confidence by taking action despite your fear. The first step reveals the second step. The second step reveals the third. But you will never see any of them while you are standing still, waiting for the complete staircase to appear. Here is another uncomfortable truth you need to hear. No one is coming to give you permission. You are waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulder, to tell you that now is your time, to validate your dreams, to confirm that you are good enough, smart enough, ready enough to begin. That person does not exist. Your parents are not going to do it. They have their own fears and limitations that they will project onto you. Your boss is not going to do it. They benefit from keeping you exactly where you are. Society is not going to do it. Society rewards conformity, not courage. The only permission that matters is the one you give yourself, and you have been withholding it for years. Every time you say, "I am not ready," you are really saying, "I do not give myself permission." Every time you say the timing is not right, you are really saying, "I am too scared to begin." Every time you say, "I need to learn more first," you are really saying, "I do not trust myself to figure it out along the way." Stop waiting for external validation. Stop waiting for the universe to send you a sign. Stop waiting for someone else to believe in you before you believe in yourself. The permission slip is in your hands. It has always been in your hands. Sign it. Now let me address the excuse that just popped into your head. But what if I fail? Good question. What if you do fail? What if you start before you are ready and you fall flat on your face? What if people laugh at you? What if you lose money? What if it does not work out? Here is my answer. So what? Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the pathway to success. Every successful person you admire has a graveyard of failures behind them. The only difference between them and you is that they started before they were ready, failed, learned, and kept going. You are so afraid of failing that you have chosen something far worse. You have chosen to never try at all, and never trying is the only guaranteed failure. When you are 80 years old, looking back on your life, you will not regret the things you tried that did not work out. You will regret the things you never tried because you were waiting for the perfect moment. The pain of regret is 1,000 times heavier than the pain of failure. Failure is temporary. Regret is forever. So here is what I need you to understand. The conditions will never be perfect. You will never feel completely ready. The fear will never fully disappear. The path will never be completely clear. And none of that matters. What matters is that you start anyway. What matters is that you take the first step today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today. Because the waiting game has no winners. Only people who ran out of time while waiting for their moment to arrive. Your moment is not coming. Your moment is now. Ready is a lie. Start is the truth. Stop waiting. Start moving. The clock is ticking, and it does not care about your excuses. Chapter 3. The Attention Theft. Your attention is being stolen, right now, this very second, and you are helping them do it. Every notification, every scroll, every refresh, every mindless check of your phone while you are supposed to be working, supposed to be present, supposed to be building something that matters. You are handing over the most valuable resource you will ever possess to people who have spent billions of dollars figuring out how to keep you addicted. And they are winning. Your phone is not a tool. Stop calling it that. Stop pretending it is some neutral piece of technology that exists to serve you. Your phone is a weapon, and it is aimed directly at your future. Let me give you some numbers that should terrify you. The average person spends between 4 and 7 hours on their phone every single day. Think about that. 4 to 7 hours. That is nearly half of your waking life. And what are you doing during those hours? Are you building your business? Are you learning a valuable skill? Are you deepening your relationships? Are you moving toward your goals? No. You are scrolling through the highlight reel of people you barely know. You are watching 15-second videos of strangers dancing. You are reading comments from people whose opinions do not matter. You are consuming content that you will forget in 30 seconds and that adds zero value to your life. Every scroll is a vote against your dreams. Say that out loud right now. Every scroll is a vote against your dreams. Because while you are scrolling, someone else is building. While you are watching, someone else is creating. While you are consuming, someone else is producing. And in 5 years, you will wonder why they are successful and you are still stuck. The answer is simple. They protected their attention. You donated yours. But here is what makes this so insidious. It does not feel like you are wasting your life. It feels harmless. It feels like a quick break. Just 5 minutes to relax. Just a quick check to see what is happening. Except it is never 5 minutes. And it is never just once. You check your phone when you wake up. Before you even get out of bed, before you have had a single original thought, you are already consuming someone else's agenda. You check it while you eat breakfast, while you drive, while you are in the bathroom, while you are supposed to be working, while you are supposed to be spending time with the people you love. You check it before bed, flooding your brain with blue light and dopamine and anxiety right before you are supposed to sleep. And you wonder why you are tired, why you cannot focus, why you feel empty despite being constantly entertained. It is because you are addicted. You are not lazy, you are addicted. And addiction requires detox. Let me explain what is happening inside your brain when you scroll through social media. Every like, every comment, every notification triggers a release of dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It is the same neurotransmitter that gets released when you eat sugar, when you have sex, when you use cocaine. Your brain loves dopamine. It craves it. And social media companies know this. They have hired teams of the smartest psychologists and neuroscientists in the world to design apps that hijack your brain's reward system. They have run thousands of experiments to figure out exactly how to keep you hooked. The infinite scroll, the pull to refresh, the red notification badge. None of these features exist by accident. They exist because they work. They keep you coming back. And every time you get that little hit of dopamine, your brain learns. It creates a neural pathway that says, this feels good, do it again. So you do it again, and again, and again. And here is where it gets dangerous. Your brain starts to require constant stimulation. It gets trained to expect quick, easy, instant rewards. And when you try to sit down and do deep work, the kind of work that actually matters, the kind of work that builds something meaningful, your brain rebels. Because deep work is hard. It is slow. It requires sustained focus and delayed gratification. There is no instant dopamine hit when you spend 3 hours writing or coding or strategizing. So your brain, which has been conditioned to expect constant stimulation, starts screaming for relief. It starts begging you to check your phone, just for a second, just to see if anyone has messaged you. And you give in. Because resisting that urge feels impossible. This is not a character flaw. This is not weakness. This is addiction. And just like any addiction, it gets worse over time if you do not address it. You lose your ability to focus for extended periods. You lose your ability to sit with boredom. You lose your ability to be present with the people in front of you. You become a slave to the device in your pocket. And the people who design these apps? They do not use them. They do not let their children use them. They know exactly how dangerous they are. Steve Jobs did not let his kids use iPads. The engineers at Facebook limit their children's screen time. The people who built the cage do not live in it. Only you do. So what do you do about it? You reclaim your attention, and you do it aggressively. Reclaiming your attention is the first act of self-respect, because when you protect your attention, you are saying, my time matters, my goals matter, my future matters more than your algorithm. Here is what that looks like in practice. First, your phone stays out of your bedroom. Period. No exceptions. No negotiation. Buy a cheap alarm clock. Put your phone in another room. Charge it somewhere you cannot reach it from your bed. Because the moment you wake up, your mind is fresh. Your willpower is at its highest. Your creativity is at its peak. and you are wasting all of that by immediately flooding your brain with other people's content. The first 60 to 90 minutes of your day should be sacred. No phone, no email, no social media, no news. This is your time to think, to plan, to create, to move your life forward. The people who are winning protect this time like their life depends on it, because it does. Second, delete the apps that are stealing your life. You do not need TikTok. You do not need Instagram. You do not need Twitter. You do not need to know what everyone you went to high school with is doing right now. I know what you are thinking, but I use it for work. But I need it to stay connected. But I will miss out. You will miss out on nothing that matters, and you will gain back hours of your life every single day. If you absolutely must use these platforms for business, access them through a web browser on your computer during scheduled times. Make it inconvenient. Make it intentional. Remove the ability to mindlessly scroll whenever you feel the slightest bit of boredom or discomfort. Third, turn off all notifications. All of them. Your phone should not be buzzing and beeping and demanding your attention throughout the day. You are not an emergency room doctor. No one needs to reach you immediately. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Schedule specific times to check messages and emails. Twice a day is more than enough. Let me give you a real-world example of what this looks like. There is an executive I know who runs a multi-million-dollar company. Every morning, he leaves his phone in his car until noon. For the first 4 to 6 hours of his day, he is completely unreachable. And you know what happened when he started doing this? His productivity tripled. His stress levels dropped. His revenue increased. His relationships improved. Because he was finally present. He was finally focused. He was finally in control of his attention instead of letting everyone else control it for him. You can do the same thing. You just have to decide that your attention is worth protecting. Guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Your attention is your life. It is the currency you spend every single day, and you are spending it on garbage. You are trading the most valuable thing you have for content that makes you feel worse, that teaches you nothing, that moves you nowhere. Stop it. Stop giving away your attention for free to people who are getting rich off your distraction. Take it back. Protect it. Use it to build something that matters. Because in 10 years, you will either look back with pride at what you built, or you will look back with regret at the hours you wasted scrolling. The choice is yours, but you have to make it today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Delete the apps, turn off the notifications, put the phone away, and watch how quickly your life transforms when you finally reclaim the one resource that actually matters, your attention. Guard it, protect it, use it wisely, because once it is gone, you can never get it back. Chapter 4. The Excuse Factory. You have an excuse for everything. Do not deny it. You know it is true. Why you have not started that business yet. Why you have not lost the weight. Why you have not written the book. Why you have not asked for the raise. Why you have not left the toxic relationship. Why you have not pursued the dream that keeps you awake at night. You have a reason. A perfectly logical, reasonable, defensible reason why you cannot do the thing you know you need to do. And that reason is killing you. Because here is what you need to understand. Every excuse you make is a lie you tell yourself to avoid responsibility. Let me say that again. Every excuse you make is a lie you tell yourself to avoid responsibility. I do not have enough time. I do not have enough money. I do not have enough energy. I do not have the right connections. I do not have the right education. I do not have the support I need. These are not facts. These are stories. Stories you have chosen to believe because they let you off the hook. Stories that allow you to stay comfortable while your dreams die quietly in the background. Your excuses are not facts. They are choices. And every time you choose the excuse, you are choosing to stay exactly where you are. Let me tell you about someone who did not have time. She was a single mother working 2 jobs. She had 3 kids under the age of 10. She was barely sleeping 4 hours a night. She had no money, no support system, no safety net, and she built a 6-figure business. How? She woke up at 4 in the morning, every single morning, while her kids were still asleep, while everyone else was comfortable in their beds. She worked for 2 hours before her children woke up. 2 hours. That is all she had. and she used every single minute. She did not wait for more time to magically appear. She did not wait for her circumstances to improve. She did not wait for permission or support or the perfect moment. She took the time she had and she used it. Meanwhile, someone else with no kids, no second job, and 8 hours of free time every evening is sitting on their couch watching Netflix, telling themselves they do not have time to pursue their goals. Do you see the difference? One person had legitimate obstacles and found a way. The other person had every advantage and found an excuse. The only difference between them is the story they told themselves. Your excuses are not protecting you, they are imprisoning you. Every excuse you make is a brick in your own prison, and you have been building that prison for years, brick by brick, excuse by excuse, until the walls are so high you cannot even see what is on the other side anymore. I do not have enough money to start. Really? You have money for streaming services. You have money for coffee every morning. You have money for things you want. You just do not have money for things that require risk and effort. I do not have enough time. Really? You have time to scroll on your phone for 3 hours a day. You have time to watch television. You have time to complain about how busy you are. You just do not have time for things that would actually change your life. I am too tired. Really? You are tired from doing what? Sitting in meetings you hate? Doing work that does not matter? Living a life that drains you because you are too scared to build one that energizes you? Stop lying to yourself. These are not real obstacles. These are convenient excuses that let you avoid the uncomfortable truth. You are scared. Scared of failure. Scared of judgment. Scared of hard work. Scared of what success might demand from you. And instead of admitting that fear, instead of facing it, you hide behind excuses. But here is what happens when you do that. You hand over control of your life. Blaming circumstances is surrendering control. When you say, I cannot succeed because of the economy, you are giving the economy control over your life. When you say, I cannot succeed because of my boss, you are giving your boss control over your life. When you say, I cannot succeed because of my parents, because of my education, because of my past, you are giving all of those things control over your life, and they do not deserve that power. The economy does not care about your dreams. Your boss does not care about your potential. Your past does not get to decide your future, unless you let it. Blame is comfortable. Ownership is powerful. Choose. Because the moment you stop blaming external circumstances and start taking full responsibility for your results, everything changes. This is where most people get uncomfortable, because taking responsibility means admitting that you are the reason you are not where you want to be. Not the economy, not your parents, not your lack of resources. You. Your choices, your habits, your excuses. And yes, that is painful to accept. It is much easier to point fingers at everything outside of yourself. But here is the beautiful part. When you take responsibility for your failures, you also take control of your future success. The moment you own everything, you control everything. This is the principle of extreme ownership, made famous by Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL who understood that leaders take responsibility for everything in their world, even things that are not their fault, especially things that are not their fault. Because when you take ownership of a problem, you gain the power to solve it. Let me give you an example. You get passed over for a promotion. You could blame your boss for not recognizing your value. You could blame office politics. You could blame discrimination or favoritism or bad timing. And maybe some of those things are true. Maybe your boss is terrible. Maybe the system is unfair. But if you stop there, if you just blame external factors, what can you do about it? Nothing. You are powerless. You are a victim. Now what if, instead, you asked yourself a different question? What was my role in this outcome? What could I have done differently? Did I clearly communicate my value? Did I ask for the promotion directly? Did I build the relationships I needed? Did I develop the skills that would make me undeniable? Now you have power. Now you can change things. This is extreme ownership. This is taking responsibility even when it is not your fault. Because the 2% you can control is the only part that matters. Your excuses are protecting your ego at the expense of your future. Think about that. Every time you make an excuse, you get to feel better about yourself in the moment. You get to avoid the discomfort of admitting you could have done more. You get to preserve your self-image as someone who would succeed if only the circumstances were different. But that temporary comfort is costing you everything. Because while you are busy protecting your ego with excuses, someone else is taking ownership and moving forward. They have the same 24 hours you have. They face obstacles too. They have fears and doubts and moments of wanting to quit. But they do not make excuses. They make progress. And in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the gap between you and them will be so massive that you will not even be able to see them anymore. Not because they were smarter or more talented or luckier, but because they refused to build a prison out of excuses. So here is what you need to do right now. Write down your top 3 excuses. The ones you tell yourself most often. The ones that feel the most true, the most justified, the most reasonable. Write them down. Now I want you to rewrite each one as a choice. Instead of, I do not have time, write, I have not made this a priority. Instead of, I do not have money, write, I have not been willing to sacrifice other things to invest in this. Instead of, I am too old, write, I am scared that I have wasted too much time already. Do you feel that? That discomfort? That resistance? Good. That is the sound of truth breaking through your carefully constructed lies. Your excuses are not facts. They are choices. And you can choose differently starting today. Will it be easy? No. Will it require you to sacrifice comfort? Yes. Will it demand that you stop blaming everyone else and look in the mirror? Absolutely. But the alternative is spending the rest of your life trapped in a prison you built yourself. A prison made of bricks labelled not enough time, not enough money, not enough support, not ready, too risky, too hard, too late. And the door to that prison was never locked. You just convinced yourself it was. Take responsibility. Take ownership. Take control. Stop making excuses and start making progress. Because the life you want is on the other side of the excuses you are clinging to. And it is waiting for you to finally stop lying to yourself and start doing the work. The moment you own everything, you control everything. Own it. All of it. And watch what happens when you finally stop building your prison and start building your empire. Chapter 5. The Perfectionism Lie. You are not a perfectionist. I know you call yourself that. I know you wear it like a badge of honor. I know when someone asks why you have not launched yet, why you have not published yet, why you have not started yet, you say it is because you are a perfectionist, as if that makes it noble, as if that makes it admirable. Let me tell you what you actually are. You are scared. Perfectionism is not a strength. It is sophisticated self-sabotage. It is fear wearing a tuxedo. It is procrastination with a college degree. It is self-protection disguised as high standards, and it is killing everything you could become. Society has lied to you. Society has told you that perfectionism is a good thing, that attention to detail is virtuous, that refusing to settle for anything less than perfect shows commitment to excellence. But here is what society does not tell you. Perfect is the enemy of done, and done is the only thing that counts. Let me ask you a question. How many projects have you started and never finished because they were not good enough yet? How many ideas have you had that died in your head because you convinced yourself they needed more time, more research, more polish before you could share them with the world? How many opportunities have you let pass by because you were not ready, not qualified, not perfect enough to seize them? Your perfectionism is not protecting your reputation. It is preventing you from having one. Because here is the truth that successful people understand and perfectionists refuse to accept. The world rewards action, not polish. Nobody cares about your perfect plan that never left your notebook. Nobody cares about your perfect business idea that you have been refining for 3 years. Nobody cares about the book you are going to write someday when you finally figure out the perfect structure. The market does not reward your intentions. It rewards your output. Let me give you some examples that should shatter your perfectionism forever. The first version of Facebook was ugly, incredibly ugly. It was limited to one college campus. It had basic features. It was not innovative. It was not revolutionary. It was not perfect. But Mark Zuckerberg launched it anyway, and then he improved it, based on real feedback from real users, not based on his own imaginary standards of what it should be. The first version of Amazon sold only books. That is it. Just books. Not the everything store. Not cloud computing. Not streaming services. Books. Jeff Bezos did not wait until he could sell everything perfectly. He started with books and expanded. The first iPhone did not have copy and paste. Read that again. The device that revolutionized mobile computing did not have one of the most basic features. It could not record video. It could not send picture messages. But Apple launched it anyway, because they understood something you need to tattoo on your brain. An imperfect product in the market beats a perfect product in your head, every single time. Your perfect idea that never sees the light of day helps no one. It makes you no money. It builds you no audience. It creates no impact. But your imperfect version that you actually launch, that can change everything. Because you know what happens when you launch something imperfect. You get feedback, real feedback, from real people, not the imaginary critics in your head who you have been trying to please. And that feedback tells you exactly what to improve. It shows you what actually matters and what you were wasting time perfecting. You cannot learn from something that does not exist yet. You cannot get better at something you never start. You cannot improve a product, a service, a skill, a piece of art that you are keeping locked away until it meets your impossible standards. Let me tell you what is really happening when you say you are a perfectionist. You are afraid of being judged. You are afraid that people will see your work and criticize it, that they will laugh at it, that they will reject it, that they will reject you. So you keep working on it. You keep refining it. You keep finding new flaws that need to be fixed before you can share it. But here is what you are not admitting to yourself. It will never be perfect. Ever. There will always be something you could improve. There will always be another detail to polish. There will always be a reason to wait just a little bit longer. Perfectionism is not about creating something great. It is about avoiding the moment when you have to expose yourself to judgment. And let me be very clear about something. If you create something and put it into the world, people will judge it. Some will love it, some will hate it, some will not care at all, and that is terrifying to you, because you've tied your self-worth to the reception of your work. But here is what you need to understand. Criticism is not rejection of who you are. It is feedback on what you created. And the only people who never get criticized are the people who never do anything worth criticizing. You want to know who does not get criticized. The person who never launches. The person who never tries. The person who plays it safe their entire life. They do not get criticized. They also do not get anything else. No success, no impact, no fulfillment, no legacy. Is that really what you want? A life free of criticism because you never had the courage to put yourself out there? Embrace the ugly first draft of everything. This is your new operating system. Everything you create will have an ugly first draft. Your first video will be awkward. Your first article will be clunky. Your first product will have flaws. Your first attempt at anything will be worse than you want it to be. And that is exactly as it should be. Because the first draft is not supposed to be perfect. It is supposed to exist. Its only job is to get out of your head and into reality where it can be improved. Here is a framework that will change your life if you actually apply it. The 80% rule. When something is 80% ready, you ship it. Not 100%. 80. Because that last 20% you are obsessing over, most of it does not matter. Nobody will notice it except you. And the parts that do matter, you will only discover them after you launch and get real-world feedback. Let me give you a real example. There is a writer who spent 2 years writing the perfect first chapter of his novel. 2 years. He rewrote it 17 times. He workshopped it. He had beta readers. He polished every single sentence until it gleamed. And you know what happened? After he finally published the book, he realized that the first chapter he spent 2 years perfecting was actually boring. Readers told him they almost quit before getting to chapter 2, where the story actually started. 2 years wasted perfecting something that needed to be cut. If he had launched at 80% after 3 months, he would have learned that in week 1. And he could have spent the next 21 months actually writing more books and building an audience. But he did not, because he was too busy being a perfectionist. Do not be that person. Launch at 80%. Get feedback. Improve in public. This is how every successful person operates. They are not smarter than you. They are not more talented than you. They just have a higher tolerance for putting imperfect work into the world, because they understand that progress requires imperfection. You cannot get from version 1 to version 10 without launching version 1. And version 1 will always be imperfect. Always. So stop trying to make it perfect. Make it good enough. Make it valuable enough. Make it real enough. And then let the world tell you what to improve. Here is what I need you to do right now. Think about the project you have been sitting on, the one you have been perfecting, the one you keep telling yourself you will launch when it is ready. What is it at right now? Honestly, 60%? 70%? 85%? Whatever it is, I want you to give yourself 1 week. 1 week to get it to 80% if it is not there already. 1 week to finish the remaining pieces if it is already past 80. And then you launch it. Imperfect, incomplete, imperfectly complete. You put it into the world and you let go of the outcome. Some people will love it. Some people will hate it. Most people will not even see it. And that is fine. Because you will have done something that most people never do. You will have created something real instead of something imaginary. You will have chosen courage over comfort. You will have proven to yourself that you are not a prisoner of your own impossible standards. Perfect is a lie that keeps you stuck. Done is the truth that sets you free. So stop polishing. Stop perfecting. Stop hiding behind your high standards. Ship it. Launch it. Put it out there. And then do it again. And again. And again. Because the person who launches 10 imperfect things will always beat the person who launches 1 perfect thing. Actually, let me correct that. The person who launches 10 imperfect things will always beat the person who launches 0 perfect things. Because that is what perfectionism really gives you. 0. 0 launches. 0 feedback. 0 progress. 0 impact. Just a hard drive full of almost ready projects and a life full of what-ifs. Is that what you want? Or do you want to actually build something that matters? The choice is yours, but you have to make it today. 80% is good enough. Now go prove it.
Chapter 6. The Comparison Curse. Stop looking at them. Stop looking at their followers, their income, their body, their relationship, their house, their success, their seemingly perfect life that they curate specifically to make you feel exactly the way you feel right now. Inadequate, behind, not enough. You are playing a game you cannot win, a game that was designed to make you lose, a game where the rules change every time you think you are getting close. And the cruelest part? You signed up voluntarily. Comparison is theft. It steals your joy. It steals your focus. It steals your momentum. It steals the only thing you actually have, the present moment, and trades it for obsession over someone else's highlight reel. Comparison does not motivate, it paralyzes. You think you are using their success as inspiration. You tell yourself you are studying what works. You convince yourself that watching their journey helps you on yours. But that is not what is happening. What is actually happening is that every time you see their success, a voice in your head whispers you are behind. You are not good enough. You should be further along by now. What is wrong with you? And that voice does not push you forward. It pins you down. It makes you question every decision you have made. It makes you second guess every move you are about to make. It makes you feel like no matter how hard you try, you will never catch up. So you slow down. Or worse, you stop completely. Why bother, you think? They are already so far ahead. I could never achieve what they have achieved. And just like that, comparison wins again. Here is what you need to understand about everything you see online. You're watching a movie, not a documentary. Every photo is selected from dozens of attempts. Every success story is edited to remove the failures.
Every overnight sensation is actually 10 years in the making, but they only show you the final moment. You are comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. You are comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 20. You are comparing your full picture, including your doubts, your failures, your bad days, your insecurities, to their carefully cropped image that shows only what they want you to see. This is a rigged game, and you keep playing it anyway. Let me tell you what you never see. You never see the entrepreneur crying in their car after losing their biggest client. You never see the fitness influencer binge eating after their photo shoot because they starved themselves for 3 days. You never see the relationship coach fighting with their spouse the same night they post about communication tips. You never see the millionaire who is actually drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to maintain an image. You never see the real story, because the real story does not get likes. So you compare yourself to a fiction, and you wonder why you always feel like you are losing. Here is another truth that will set you free if you let it. Their success is not your failure. When someone else wins, that does not mean you lose. Success is not a limited resource. There is not a finite amount of it in the world that gets used up when someone else achieves their goals. Their success is actually proof of what is possible. If they can do it, why not you? If someone with similar circumstances, similar background, similar obstacles can build the life they want, that is evidence that it can be done. That is a roadmap, not a rejection, but only if you choose to see it that way. Let their success be your proof, not your poison. The successful athlete does not look at the champion and think, I should give up because I will never be that good. They study the champion. They learn from them. They use their success as fuel, not as an excuse. The question is not, why are they winning and I am not? The question is, what are they doing that I could learn from? One question leads to despair. The other leads to growth. Choose wisely. But here is the real solution to the comparison curse. The antidote that will free you from this prison forever. The only competition that matters is yesterday's version of you. Not them. Not anyone else. Not the people on your timeline, or the colleagues in your industry, or the friends from high school who seem to have it all figured out. Just you, yesterday. That is your only benchmark. That is your only measuring stick. That is the only comparison that leads anywhere good. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Even 1% better? Even slightly more skilled, more focused, more disciplined, more aligned with your goals? If yes, you are winning. Period. Run your own race, at your own pace, on your own track. Because here is what nobody tells you about success. Everyone has a different starting point. Everyone has different advantages and disadvantages. Everyone is running a completely different race with completely different rules. The person you are comparing yourself to might have started with more money, or more connections, or more support, or more natural talent. Or they might have started with less, and they have just been running longer than you have. Either way, it does not matter. Their race is not your race. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their path is not your path. You comparing yourself to them is like a fish comparing itself to a bird and feeling bad about its flying skills. You are not supposed to be where they are. You are supposed to be where you are. And where you are is exactly the right starting point for getting where you want to go. So here is what I need you to do. Stop following the people who make you feel inadequate. Unfollow them. Mute them. Block them if you have to. Protect your mental environment the same way you would protect your physical environment from toxins. Replace those inputs with people who genuinely inspire you without triggering your insecurities. People who teach. People who share the struggle, not just the success. People who make you feel empowered, not inferior. Then create your own scoreboard. Write down 5 metrics that matter to you, not to society, not to Instagram, to you. Maybe it is pages written. Maybe it is workouts completed. Maybe it is dollars saved. Maybe it is hours spent learning a new skill. Maybe it is quality time with people you love. Whatever it is, track it, daily, weekly, monthly, and only compare yourself to your previous score. Did you write more pages this week than last week? Did you work out more consistently this month than last month? Are you moving in the right direction? If yes, you are winning. No matter what anyone else is doing. This is your race. Stop looking left. Stop looking right. Stop looking at the runners ahead of you and the runners behind you. Put your head down, focus on your lane, and run.
Run your own race, at your own pace, on your own track, because the only person you need to beat is the person you were yesterday. And when you start winning that competition consistently, everything else falls into place. The success comes, the fulfillment comes, the confidence comes, not from comparing yourself to others, but from becoming better than you used to be. One day at a time, one step at a time, 1% at a time. That is how you break the comparison curse. Now stop scrolling and start running. Chapter 7. The People-Pleasing Prison. You are building your life on the foundation of other people's expectations, and that foundation is crumbling beneath you. Every yes you say when you mean no, every smile you force when you want to scream, every priority you abandon to accommodate someone else's agenda, every dream you postpone because someone might be disappointed if you pursue it. You think you are being kind. You think you are being considerate. You think you are being a good person. But here is what you are actually doing. You are betraying yourself. Every fake yes is a real no to your own priorities. Say that out loud. Let it hurt. Every fake yes is a real no to your own priorities. When you say yes to helping your friend move when you desperately need that Saturday to work on your business, you are saying no to your future. When you say yes to attending another pointless social obligation, when you need rest, you need recovery, you need time alone, you are saying no to your mental health. When you say yes to taking on another project at work because you do not want to seem difficult, you are saying no to the boundaries you need to protect your time. And every single one of those small betrayals adds up, until one day you wake up and you do not recognize your life, because it is not your life. It is a life constructed entirely around keeping other people happy. And the worst part, they are not even that happy. Because people pleasers do not inspire respect, they inspire expectation. When you train people that you will always say yes, they stop appreciating it. It becomes the baseline. It becomes what they expect from you. And the moment you try to set a boundary, the moment you finally say no, they act shocked, they act hurt, they act betrayed. As if you owe them unlimited access to your time, your energy, your life. You do not. You cannot build a meaningful life on the foundation of other people's expectations, because their expectations will expand to fill whatever space you give them. There is no end point. There is no moment where they finally say you have done enough. You can go live your life now. That moment never comes, unless you create it. Let me tell you what is really happening when you say yes to everyone else. You are avoiding conflict. You are avoiding discomfort. You are avoiding the temporary pain of disappointing someone. And in doing so, you are choosing permanent disappointment of yourself. The fear of disappointing others is keeping you average. Think about it. How many opportunities have you passed up because someone in your life did not approve? How many times have you dimmed your ambition because you did not want to make others feel uncomfortable with their own lack of ambition? How many times have you stayed small because growing would require you to outgrow the expectations people have placed on you? Let me give you an example. There is an employee who has worked at the same company for 8 years. She is underpaid, she knows it, everyone knows it. She brings more value than anyone else on her team, but she has never asked for a raise. Why? Because she does not want to seem difficult. She does not want to seem ungrateful. She does not want to make her boss uncomfortable. So she stays silent. She stays underpaid. She stays resentful. And her boss? He is perfectly happy with the arrangement. Why would he offer more money when she has never asked for it? She thinks she is being polite. She is actually being invisible. Meanwhile, someone else with half her experience walks in, asks for what they want, and gets it. Not because they are better, but because they were willing to risk disappointing someone. This is the cost of people-pleasing. You sacrifice your needs, your goals, your worth to avoid temporary discomfort, and you end up with permanent regret. Their disappointment is temporary. Your regret is permanent. Let that sink in. When you say no to someone, when you set a boundary, when you prioritize yourself, yes, they might be disappointed. They might be annoyed. They might even be angry. For a day, maybe a week, maybe a month, but then they move on. They find someone else to help them. They adjust their expectations.
they get over it. But you? If you keep abandoning yourself to please them, you do not get over it. That resentment builds. That regret accumulates. That quiet desperation of living for everyone except yourself grows until it suffocates you. So which pain do you choose? Their temporary disappointment or your permanent regret? Here is what you need to understand about people-pleasing. It is not generosity. It is self-abandonment. Real generosity comes from overflow. You give because you want to, because you have the capacity to, because it aligns with your values and does not require you to betray yourself. People-pleasing comes from fear. You give because you are afraid of what will happen if you do not, afraid of conflict, afraid of rejection, afraid of being seen as selfish or difficult or unkind. That is not love. That is transaction. You are trading your authentic self for approval, and approval that has to be purchased is not worth having. Learn the power of the strategic no. This is not about becoming selfish. This is not about refusing to help anyone ever again. This is about protecting your priorities so you can actually show up as your best self for the people and things that truly matter. Here is the framework that will change your life. Hell yes or no. When someone asks you to do something, commit to something, attend something, you ask yourself one question. Is this a hell yes? Does this opportunity excite you? Does it align with your goals? Does it energize you? Does it move you toward the life you are trying to build? If the answer is not a clear, enthusiastic hell yes, then the answer is no. Not maybe. Not I guess. Not I suppose I should. No. And here is the beautiful part. You do not owe anyone an explanation. You do not need to justify your no. You do not need to provide a detailed breakdown of why you cannot make it. You do not need to invent an excuse to make them feel better about your boundary. No is a complete sentence. Thank you for thinking of me, but I cannot make it. I appreciate the offer, but that does not work for me. I am not able to take that on right now. Simple, clear, final. And if they push back, if they guilt trip you, if they act wounded, that is their problem, not yours. Protect your time like your life depends on it, because your life is your time. Every hour you give away is an hour you cannot get back. Every commitment you make to someone else is a commitment you cannot make to yourself. You have limited time on this planet, finite energy, a finite number of days to build the life you actually want to live. And you are spending that time trying to keep people happy who will forget about you the moment you stop being useful. That is not connection. That is not love. That is not friendship. That is exploitation, and you are volunteering for it. So here is what you do starting today. Audit your commitments, every single one. Your calendar, your obligations, your recurring events, your automatic yeses. Ask yourself, if this request came to me today for the first time, would I say yes? If the answer is no, you cancel it. You resign from it. You politely decline to continue. I know what you're thinking, but I already committed. But people are counting on me. But I will let them down. Yes, you will. And they will survive. Just like you have survived every time someone has let you down. Because here is what people pleasers forget. Other people disappoint you all the time. They cancel plans, they forget commitments, they prioritize themselves when they need to. And you forgive them. You understand. You move on. Why do you not give yourself that same grace? Second, practice saying no to small things. Build the muscle. Start with low-stakes situations where the consequences of disappointing someone are minimal. No, I do not want to add another streaming service. No, I do not want to grab coffee this week. No, I cannot take on that extra project. Feel the discomfort. Sit with it. Watch as the world does not end. Watch as people respect you more, not less, when you have clear boundaries. Because people do not respect people pleasers. They use them. But they respect people who know their worth and protect their priorities. Third, surround yourself with people who respect your no. The right people in your life will not guilt trip you when you set a boundary. They will not manipulate you when you prioritize yourself. They will not punish you for having limits. they will respect you more. And if someone in your life cannot handle your boundaries, if they only valued you for what you could do for them, then you just learned something valuable about that relationship. It was never real in the first place. Let me be very clear about something. You are not responsible for other people's happiness. You are not responsible for managing their emotions. You are not responsible for sacrificing your dreams so they can feel comfortable. Your job is to live your life. Their job is to live theirs. And when you finally accept that, when you finally choose yourself without apology, everything changes. You stop feeling resentful. You stop feeling exhausted. You stop feeling like your life belongs to everyone except you. You build a life that is actually yours, with priorities that actually matter to you, with time for the goals you have been neglecting. Every fake yes is a real no to your own priorities. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Your life is waiting for you to finally choose it.
Chapter 8. The Quitting Habit. You have quit more times than you can count. Do not pretend otherwise. Do not tell yourself that each time was different, that each time you had a good reason, that each time the circumstances justified walking away. The circumstances are never the problem. You are the problem, because quitting has become your habit. And like every habit, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Most people quit 3 feet from gold. This is not just a motivational phrase. This is a documented pattern, a pattern that separates the successful from the stuck. Napoleon Hill wrote about it decades ago. A man named R.U. Darby and his uncle went to Colorado during the gold rush. They struck gold. They got excited. They bought machinery. They started drilling. And then the gold disappeared. They drilled and found nothing. Eventually they gave up. They sold their machinery to a junk man for a few $100s. That junk man hired an engineer. The engineer studied the fault lines and calculated that the gold would be found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. 3 feet. The junk man made millions from that mine. The Darbys spent the rest of their lives regretting their decision to quit. 3 feet from gold. How many times have you stopped 3 feet from your breakthrough? How many businesses did you abandon right before they would have turned profitable? How many skills did you stop developing right before you would have achieved competence? How many relationships did you walk away from right before they would have deepened into something meaningful? You will never know because you quit. The darkest hour is just before dawn, and most people go to sleep. This is the cruelest part of the journey toward anything worthwhile. The moment when everything seems hopeless, when nothing is working, when every sign points to failure. That moment is almost always right before the breakthrough. But you do not see it. You cannot see it. All you can see is the pain, the frustration, the lack of results. And so you quit. You tell yourself it was not meant to be. You tell yourself you will try something else. You tell yourself that you gave it your best shot. But you did not give it your best shot. You gave it your comfortable shot. You stayed until it got hard, and then you left. Here is what you need to understand about quitting. Quitting is a habit, and habits compound. Every time you quit something, you are not just walking away from that one project. You are strengthening a neural pathway in your brain, a pathway that says, when things get hard, we stop. And the next time things get hard, that pathway activates faster. The next time, quitting feels even more natural, even more justified, even more automatic. You are not just quitting this project, you are training yourself to be a quitter. Every quit makes the next quit easier. Every push through makes the next push through easier. Choose wisely. Because the opposite is also true. When you push through the discomfort, when you keep going despite the lack of results, when you refuse to quit even when every part of you wants to, you are strengthening a different pathway. A pathway that says when things get hard, we keep going. And the next time things get hard, that pathway activates. Persistence becomes your default. Resilience becomes your habit. You train yourself to be someone who finishes what they start. And that identity will carry you further than any talent, any strategy, any opportunity ever could. So how do you break the quitting habit? You burn the boats. This is an ancient military strategy. When commanders wanted to ensure their soldiers would fight with everything they had, they would burn their ships after landing on enemy shores. No retreat, no escape,
no plan B. When the only options are victory or death, you find reserves of strength you never knew existed. Now, I'm not suggesting anything extreme, but the principle applies directly to your goals. Make quitting impossible, and success becomes inevitable. How do you do this? Public commitment. Tell everyone what you are doing. Post it on social media. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Tell your co-workers. When your reputation is on the line, when people are watching, when quitting would mean public failure rather than private surrender, you fight harder. Financial stakes. Put money on the line. Pay in advance for the course you keep saying you will take. Hire the coach. Invest in the equipment. When you have skin in the game, when quitting costs you something tangible, you are far less likely to walk away. Accountability partners. Find someone who will hold you to your word. Someone who will check in. Someone who will not accept your excuses. Someone who will call you out when you start making noises about giving up. When someone else is counting on you, when your failure affects more than just yourself, you show up differently. Remove the option of retreat. Delete plan B. Stop researching alternative paths. Stop keeping one foot out the door just in case this does not work. Because as long as you have an escape route, part of your brain is always considering it. Part of your energy is always being diverted toward the backup plan. Go all in. Commit completely. Make this the only option. Let me ask you something. What is the one thing you have been flirting with quitting? The business that is not growing as fast as you hoped? The skill that feels impossible to master? The goal that seems further away every day? Whatever it is, I need you to make a decision right now. Are you in or are you out? If you are out, fine. Quit today. Stop wasting energy on something you are not committed to. But if you are in, then burn the boats. Announce it. Invest in it. Find someone to hold you accountable, and then refuse to quit no matter what. Because the breakthrough is coming. You just cannot see it yet. And the only way to find out how close you are is to keep going. 3 feet from gold. Do not stop now.
Chapter 9. The Knowledge Addiction.
You are addicted to learning. That sounds like a compliment. It sounds like something you would put on a resume, a humble brag in a job interview. I just love learning new things. But here is what is actually happening. You are using learning as a hiding place. Every course you buy, every book you read, every podcast you consume, every YouTube video you watch, every article you save for later. You tell yourself you are preparing. You tell yourself you are getting ready. You tell yourself that once you learn just a little bit more, you will finally be equipped to take action. But that moment never comes, does it? Because there is always one more course, one more book, one more piece of information that feels essential before you can begin. Information without application is entertainment, not education. Let that sink in. When you consume content without implementing it, you are not learning. You are not growing. You are not preparing. You are being entertained. You are giving yourself the feeling of productivity without any of the results. You are scratching the itch of ambition without actually doing anything ambitious. And your brain loves it. Because learning feels like progress. It activates the same reward centers as actual achievement. You get the dopamine hit of growth without any of the risk, any of the discomfort, any of the potential for failure. It is the perfect escape. And it is keeping you exactly where you are. You do not need more information. You need more implementation. How many business books have you read? 10? 20? 50? And how many businesses have you started? How many fitness programs have you studied? How many nutrition guides have you consumed? How many workout videos have you watched? And what does your body look like? How many courses have you taken on writing, on marketing, on investing, on personal development? And what have you actually done with any of it? This is the gap that is destroying your potential. The gap between knowing and doing. You know exactly what you need to do. You have known for years. The information is not the problem. It was never the problem. The problem is that you keep using the need for more information as an excuse to avoid the discomfort of execution. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Everyone knows this quote. Few people actually understand it. Knowledge sitting in your head is worthless. It has zero value. It does not pay your bills. It does not build your business. It does not change your body. It does not improve your relationships. Only applied knowledge does that. The person who reads one book and applies everything in it will always outperform the person who reads 100 books and applies nothing. Because life does not reward what you know, life rewards what you do with what you know. Let me give you an example that might sting. There is someone right now who knows half of what you know about your field. Half the books, half the courses, half the expertise, and they are 10 times more successful than you. Not because they are smarter, not because they are more talented, not because they got lucky, but because they stopped learning and started doing. They launched the imperfect product. They published the mediocre first article. They made the awkward first video. They sent the clumsy first pitch. And then they learned from the real world, from actual feedback, from genuine experience. While you were busy consuming your 15th course on how to start, they were busy actually starting. Knowing and doing are not the same, and only doing counts. Here is what you need to understand about the learning trap. It is comfortable, dangerously comfortable. When you are learning, you cannot fail. There is no rejection. There is no judgment. There is no moment where you put yourself out there and the world says no. Learning is safe. Doing is terrifying.
And your brain, which is wired to avoid danger at all costs, has found the perfect loophole. It lets you feel like you are making progress while keeping you completely safe from any real risk. This is why you keep buying courses you never finish, why you keep saving articles you never read, why you keep collecting information you never use. Your brain has figured out how to satisfy your ambition without ever exposing you to failure, and you have been falling for it for years. So how do you break the knowledge addiction? You adopt the 48-hour rule. Here is how it works. For every piece of valuable information you consume, you have 48 hours to apply it in some form, any form, however small. Read a chapter about cold emailing? You have 48 hours to send one cold email. Watch a video about morning routines? You have 48 hours to implement one change to your morning. Listen to a podcast about negotiation? You have 48 hours to use one technique in a real conversation. If you do not apply it within 48 hours, you accept that you are not serious about it. You are just consuming for entertainment, and that is fine, but be honest about it. Small action beats large intention. You do not need to implement everything perfectly. You do not need to take massive action. You just need to do something. Because small action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates bigger action. But it all starts with that first small step. And it has to happen immediately. Act now or forget forever. This is the brutal truth about information. If you do not use it immediately, you will lose it. Your brain will discard it. It will get buried under the next piece of content you consume. That brilliant insight you had while reading? Gone within a week if you did not apply it. That life-changing strategy from the podcast? Forgotten within days if you did not use it. Information has an expiration date, and that date is closer than you think. So here is what I need you to do right now. Think about the last piece of valuable information you consumed. The last insight that made you think, yes, this could change everything. What was it? Now ask yourself, did you apply it? If not, you have 48 hours, starting now. Not 49 hours, not next week, not when you feel ready. 48 hours. Because knowledge without action is just trivia, and trivia never changed anyone's life. Stop learning, start doing. The world is waiting for you to finally use what you already know. Chapter 10. The Identity Prison. Everything you have heard in this audiobook means nothing if you do not understand this final chapter. You can break free from comfort. You can stop waiting. You can reclaim your attention. You can eliminate excuses. You can abandon perfectionism. You can ignore comparison. You can stop pleasing people. You can refuse to quit. You can start applying what you learn and still fail. Because none of those changes will last if you do not change the deepest part of yourself, your identity.
You will never outperform the story you tell yourself. Read that again. Let it burn into your mind. You will never outperform the story you tell yourself. Every action you take, every habit you build, every result you achieve, all of it is downstream from one thing: the story you believe about who you are. If you believe you are someone who struggles with discipline, you will always struggle with discipline. If you believe you are someone who cannot stick to anything, you will never stick to anything. If you believe you are someone who is bad with money, you will always be bad with money. If you believe you are someone who is unlucky in relationships, you will keep attracting the wrong people. Your identity is not a reflection of your behavior. Your behavior is a reflection of your identity. This is why willpower fails. This is why motivation fades. This is why most people who lose weight gain it back. Why most people who quit smoking start again. Why most people who set goals abandon them. They tried to change their behavior without changing their identity. They were fighting against themselves. And you cannot win a war against yourself. Your habits are a reflection of your identity. James Clear wrote about this in Atomic Habits. He said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." But I would take it one step further. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. Because your systems, your habits, your daily actions are all determined by who you believe yourself to be. The person who identifies as an athlete does not need willpower to go to the gym. Going to the gym is just what athletes do. The person who identifies as a writer does not need motivation to write every day. Writing is just what writers do. The person who identifies as a successful entrepreneur does not need to force themselves to work hard. Working hard is just what successful entrepreneurs do. When your behavior aligns with your identity, there is no friction. There is no resistance. There is no need for discipline because you are simply being who you are. But when your behavior conflicts with your identity, every action feels like a battle. Every good decision feels like a sacrifice. Every positive habit feels like punishment. And eventually, you snap back to who you believe yourself to be. This is why identity is the master key. Change the story and you change the life. So how do you change your identity? First, you need to understand something crucial. Identity is a choice, not a fact. You have spent your entire life collecting evidence about who you are. Every failure became proof that you are not good enough. Every rejection became proof that you are not worthy. Every setback became proof that you are not capable. And you turned all of that evidence into a story about who you are and what you are capable of. But that story is not truth. It is interpretation. You chose to interpret those events in a certain way, and you can choose to interpret them differently. The person who was always unfit can decide today that they are someone who prioritizes health. The person who always failed at business can decide today that they are someone who learns from failure and keeps going. The person who always struggled with confidence can decide today that they are someone who acts despite fear. Decide who you are, then prove it daily. This is the two-step process for identity change. Step 1. Make a declaration. Who do you want to be? Not what do you want to have, not what do you want to achieve. Who do you want to become? I am someone who wakes up early and attacks the day. I am someone who keeps promises to myself. I am someone who does hard things without complaining. I am someone who finishes what they start. I am someone who prioritizes health over convenience. I am someone who takes action despite fear. Write it down. Say it out loud. Make it real. This is your new identity. This is who you are now. Not who you will become someday. Who you are right now.